Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you with the rumor of the day. One little line that just basically everyone's talking about on Twitter. Everybody's giving their thoughts on what they think is going to go down. It's just basically, it says, you know, with Batista leaving to go film his I apologize. It's already filmed. He's already done it. He's going to go promote his movie that's coming out, the Marvel, superheroes movie that's supposed to make him into a big deal and sort of, give him wide screen appeal like The Rock has. Once he leaves, how are they going to keep the Evolution storyline going if they think they need to? I was a little bit surprised, with the talk that Batista was going to be leaving, that Evolution printed up new shirts, basically with the three of them is skeletons sort of doing their poses. At first I liked it, and then I realized, that's something that I'm never going to wear. If Batista's not going to be around for a good amount of time, and you know that you're going to have to try and talk him into working the Payback show, you probably just should have re-released the old Evolution shirt and just thought that maybe you can make a whole lot of sales off that. Plus, if Batista does leave and you need to end off Evolution, people would still be trying to buy the shirts just for, remembering what this, stable was. Back in the day with, Ric Flair, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista holding all the championships at one time. They were a very, very cool group in wrestling. One of the things that I really, really miss, seeing them at their limelight, seeing them at the biggest part is, it was during a time when I took a break from wrestling and I came back and I saw the end, which I got to see a lot of, clips of what they did when they were at their peak. Because, they were passing the torch from Triple H to Batista. Batista was beating him at WrestleMania 21, and they were going on to have an awesome Hell in a Cell match. It just was great, So many times you see guys pointed out, like, let's say, Drew McIntyre, or maybe, the Pope, who was known as Elijah Burke in ECW. Both of those guys got pointed at and said, you are going to be the superstar of the future by Vince McMahon himself inside of the ring. Drew McIntyre, I think that he probably was the guy that they really saw some potential in, but the only real reason I really think that Vince McMahon came out there and said that is because Elijah Burke, the last guy, had debuted for TNA, and they didn't really want a guy, that Vince McMahon had given that stamp of approval to, running around on TNA and not having somebody out there, having TNA to be able to say, like, well, Vince said this guy was going to be the guy of the future, now he works for us. So, we're on the way, and, Drew McIntyre, I think, is a really good wrestler. I think they put him in a spot where he was very, very dry, is what they were looking for, and it just didn't catch on, and it sucks, because I think that guy has a huge amount of potential, and he could be something in this company, just he didn't catch on at the right time, and you can make 1,000 excuses on why, but they gave the guy the Intercontinental Championship on 2 different occasions, I believe, and both times, some people say that it was his mouth backstage not working out with people. Some people look at the what happened at SummerSlam 2010 with Tiffany getting arrested and for a spousal thing, and it just put a bad light on SummerSlam with TMZ picking up the story. But that's 4 years ago. And the guy's still, a member of a 3-man band, which I really like. I love those guys. You can't say that when you tuned in and watched the pre-show for Extreme Rules that you weren't entertained. And I know it wasn't, Drew McIntyre actually in the ring, but he's a part of the group with Hornswoggle, and they stole the show. I mean, you can easily say that Evolution versus The Shield was a better match. There was better spots in the Daniel Bryan versus Kane match. But the one thing that you really woke up the next day and you laughed about and you're like, damn, that was fun, I really want to see that again, was more than likely the WLC match. But, screw that. We're not talking about Drew McIntyre here. What we're actually talking about is Sheamus joining Evolution. Sheamus joining Evolution would be one of the worst things of all time. Sheamus does not have, the character to be a part of Evolution. When Evolution came out, basically what Evolution was supposed to be was the reincarnation of the 80s style of wrestler. Basically, we're going to show up to the show, we're going to be professionals, when we get there, we're going to be looking nice, wearing our $1 million suits because we make $1 million, and then we're going to go into the ring, we're going to kick your ass, we're going to be the champion, and then when we're done, we're going to take the fanciest limo to the nicest club, take it to the top of that penthouse, and we're going to bang every check in there. That's what Ric Flair, that's what Triple H, that's what Batista, and that's what Randy Orton was about. That was the gimmick. Sheamus does not fit in with that. We've never seen him. What Sheamus is a guy that we guess drinks a lot, and beats the shit out of people. That's basically all we've ever seen out of Sheamus. Sheamus putting on a suit, Sheamus, standing next to the Ferrari, taking the 8x10, is going to stand out worse than Mark Jindrak did when they had the video that was on the Triple H DVD of the group before they had the idea of putting Batista in, and they had Mark Jindrak as being that guy that was going to be in there. Mark Jindrak, is a great wrestler. He's the big star down in Mexico. He never really caught on with WWE, but people probably would not look at Evolution the same if Batista wasn't in there, and it would have been Mark Jindrak. Yeah, Randy Orton became a big star, but how would you have gotten to that main event of WrestleMania 21? WrestleMania 21 blew WrestleMania 20 out of the water. It was one of the highest, bought pay-per-views of a long time, and it's a big deal in wrestling history. I'm sure that it's going to be, looked at huge on the DVD that's coming out on the Wrestling's Greatest Factions, or whatever it's called, groups. I don't know. It's got an N on there for Nexus on the cover. I marked out for that. But Sheamus, to me, is in a tight spot. He's, we've seen him as a bad guy. People looked at him then as like, there were some people who stood up and said they were Sheamus fans. He was one of the first guys to beat, John Cena in their first match, the TLC match, even though the ending is a joke with Cena slipping off the rope and going through the table. He still got his belt. Him running away from the Nexus, he ran away from the Nexus twice. Once after he won the championship, he got his title and he booked it out of there, mainly because they were building up the whole thing with them. But they also had the thing when Nexus surrounded him, he ran off yelling for Cena, saying that he wanted him to be there. But just, I don't know, he's always just going to be that Irishman. This is the reason why they need the World Heavyweight Championship. And I know they have the title, but it's merged. It's, with Daniel Bryan. He carries both of them around. But it's, Sheamus was a perfect World Heavyweight Champion. That he's a big deal. With him having the World Heavyweight Championship, it, marks him as like the number 2, number 3 guy in the company. And, it made him a guy. Now, we see Sheamus, and he's got the U.S. belt. Maybe they're trying to make the U.S. belt look like it is. But when you've had reigns like Cesaro had, Dean Ambrose had, Kofi Kingston, didn't do anything. Go back to my man, Jack Swagger, when he had the U.S. belt after he beat Zack Ryder. He only competed on Superstars the whole run he had before he lost it. I believe he might have lost it on Raw, or he might have lost it on the pay-per-view. I can't even remember. It was not a good day for Jack Swagger fans when he did. But I don't know. Like, this goes back, I'm sure people just throw things against the wind trying to see if they're going to stick, and this wrestling board put it up. But you can go back to when everybody said that the Shield was breaking up, Roman Reigns was getting the boot, that Mason Ryan was going to come up from NXT, and he was going to fill the spot as the big guy, and, the Shield would look the same, have the same feel as having 3 guys, and they really wouldn't miss a beat. Where's Mason Ryan right now? Probably doing probably doing a TNA trial run right now, trying to see if he can make it over there, because he got fired. He got released. He had a good run, 2011, with CM Punk in the new Nexus. Randy Orton kicked him in the head, and we never saw him again. Actually, I think we did. He did get called up one more time. He was like a babyface. We saw him fight on Superstars a few times, and then he was gone, and we never saw him again. Until they were doing the rollout for the Performance Center, and he was like the biggest star they had there at the point, because he had TV time, even though it was years before. They let him do an interview, and everybody was like, whoa! That guy's still around. Crazy. We'll see what happens. Sheamus getting the push with Evolution. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm not saying that maybe, Randy Orton and Sheamus couldn't be a group, and maybe Triple H goes back to just being the CEO of the company, to putting the suit on and not wanting to wrestle. But a 3-way group with them doesn't work. If you want me to say I want somebody in there, Cody Rhodes is the perfect guy to join Evolution. Every time I've seen this guy at Access, he's wearing a nice suit. Every picture you see, walking away from the arenas, he's wearing a nice suit. He fits that. He's got, the swagger when he's been the bad guy. He can fit in. He is the guy to go into Evolution. Or if you want to go down, you want to dig deep, and you want to find somebody, you got Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas didn't really work out, a few years ago when he put him up in the Rumble. He was supposed to have the big match for the Intercontinental Championship against Wade Barrett. somewhere along the line he got pulled. He's got a better look than his brother does, but his brother's the guy that's, getting the big matches on WrestleMania, while he's just trying to fit in somewhere around the way. I would like to see Bo Dallas get put in there so they have that guy of the future. It's something to add to his resume, something that pushes him along as he goes up the card in WWE. And you can always say he's a member of Evolution. If he finally wins the big one, you can say that the prophecy has been fulfilled. Triple H is one of the best minds in wrestling to pick this guy out of the crowd, put him in this group, massage him, and get him up to the point where he is a World Heavyweight Champion. The same way Randy Orton did. Same way Batista did, and Triple H always has done. So, that's the way it goes. Peace out.